Hey guys, Kyrios here, and today we're going to go over my top 3 4-star characters in Honkai Star Rail. Now, honestly, almost all the 4 stars are phenomenal, and it also kind of depends on what 5 stars you pull. So if you pull more buffers, you may need to shift to more attacking 4 stars. If you pull more attackers, you may have to shift to more buffing 4 stars. But we'll have a general team build, and we'll do that at the end and kind of show off like what you're looking at. So depending on what you pull, your mileage may vary, but let's go ahead and just get started. I'm going to start with Asta. Asta? One of those. Okay, so Asta is not really at the top of my list. There's 2 other characters that I actually like a lot more, but she is absolutely amazing and very well rounded. She has a couple of quirks and a couple cons, but let's talk about her general kit. I really enjoyed having her in the closed beta, and she was at times that she was very useful, especially when there was fire units. She was extremely useful. Now, when there wasn't fire units, there did take away some of her perks from being in the party, but she was still very beneficial because support abilities in this game are very, very important, and especially considering the general mechanic is you do 3 support and 1 DPS for a lot of the end game currently. But Asta is very easy to use. Her kit's pretty straightforward. She has a basic attack, which is fire damage, and you'll be using that a decent amount because you won't be skilling all the time. Then she has her skill, which is Meteor Storm, and it bounces. Now, this is a little bit of a gamble, and she does a lot better when there's like 2, maybe 3 enemies on the field instead of a single. But she's actually good at bossing single as well if you need to use her as a breaker, but that's only when they have fire weakness. But anyways, so she rains down a Meteor Storm, and it bounces randomly between different targets, does damage, does breaking. And then finally, we have her ultimate ability, which increases the speed of all allies by 50 or 36 for 2 turns. This is actually great, absolutely amazing. Anytime you can move faster, it's going to help your team out. Her ultimate is 130 energy, which is a little high in my opinion. I wish it was like 125, maybe 120. Give her a little bit more versatility, but it is what it is. All right, her bread and butter really is her technique and talent. So we'll talk about the technique first. When she enters battle, she immediately hits all enemies. So this is great if there's 5, 4, 3 enemies. And it relates right into her talent. Gain a charging stack every single time you hit an enemy, whether it be your basic, whether it be your skill. And you get a bonus additional attack if it has fire weakness. So this is why it's great when there's fire. Easy to stack up. And there is a caveat to that and a con to that. For every charge that Asta has, all allies' attack will increase by 5, 10, or 11%, stacking 5 times. This is absolutely amazing and a great perk to have. Now, it's a little bit hard to juggle. As you can see here, charge attacks will start to reduce by 3 at the beginning of every turn. Now, her traces are nothing really to write home about. You do some burn damage. Allies can do fire damage, increased by 8% if you're stacking fire, which you're not right now. And defense is increased by depending on the charging stacks, which is good. So she gets hit, she doesn't take as much damage. Now, unfortunately for Asta, she does require some Eidolons. And really the Eidolon you're looking for is Eidolon level 2. And luckily she's a 4-star, so you'll probably get it over time. But after using her ultimate ability, charging stacks will not be reduced on the next turn. This will help you charge up your stacks a little bit better than what you can typically do. But the big caveat is you really need Eidolon 6 as well. Now, you don't. I mean, you can stack it up perfectly fine as long as you're not attacking a single target and there are 2, 3 targets. You're going to be perfectly fine with keeping that 5 stacks up. But if you are attacking a single boss, she may not be the best unless you're breaking and bringing her as a fire breaker once again. Until you get that 6-star. So eventually over time, over the grand scheme of things, she will get a lot better. But she was one of my favorite characters to use. Speed is king and damage is king. So can't go wrong with either of those. Speaking of amazing things as well, you watching this video, if you guys want to support the channel, hit that like and subscribe. I do appreciate you. We'll have more content. Let's get back into it. All right, so next up on the list, we do have Sushang. And Sushang is an absolute beast. Now, unfortunately, I do place her really high up on the priority tier. But if you did pull Yangqing, or if you pulled 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿, which is the first limited, or you pulled, obviously Yangqing, which is the 5-star ice dude, she kind of loses a lot of her value. Now, if you do not pull either of those units, she does get a lot of her value back. Now, once again, she is physical, so, you know, you might bring her into a physical fight compared to the others, but she is absolutely cracked. Her normal skill just basically hits a target, single target, like normal, like every single other unit. Now, what's really good about her kit is when you can wombo combo. And what's a little bit interesting about her kit is that you actually want to combo her. You want to balance your ultimate charges properly. So you'll end up using the skill, and her skill does attack to a single enemy, and after the hit, it has a 33% chance to put you in sword stance, which essentially makes you do more damage. This is especially good if it's already weakness break, so she's going to hit really, really hard. So her ultimate ability is her bread and butter, and this is how you wombo really good with her, right? You'll hit the skill, and then you'll immediately hit your ultimate. At that point, you'll do damage, so you got to have 2 skill points for this combo. You'll do damage to a single target. You'll immediately advance forward in action by 100%. So you're going to get an additional free turn. So you're essentially going to get 3 turns here if you do it from skill ultimate to skill with 2 points stacked up. Increases attack. And then when using her skill, she gets 2 additional chances to trigger sword stance for 2 turns. Sword stance is triggered for an additional chances deal 50% of the original damage. So you can go skill, ultimate, skill immediately and just do an insane burst. So if you weakness break any of the enemies and you can get that burst off, you're going to do a ton of damage. She is absolutely cracked. Her technique and talent. Technique pretty standard across the board. Entering battle, hits all enemies, yada yada yada. Now her talent, Flowing Blade. This is what makes her even more of a monster, and why you can actually build her just straight raw crit and attack, or in crit damage on top of that, where you don't really need a lot of speed, because she's going to bring her own speed to the battle. When there's an enemy with weakness break on the field, that means any of the enemies. As soon as you break any enemy, there's 5 enemies and one of them's broken, she immediately gets a speed increase by 15, 20, 21% for 2 turns. This is one of the best. It is one of the best. So she has the full kit where you don't even have to put speed boots on her. You can actually just build her with attack, crit, and crit damage. Sushang is already cracked, but her traces make her even more cracked. And really the one that does is repel the enemy. For every sword stance triggered, the damage dealt by sword stance increases by 3%, stacking 10 times. It's a 30% increase. This is why she's a boss killer. She comes in there, she just starts doing more and more and more and more and more damage. Then on top of that, she has Vanquisher. After using a basic attack or skill, if there's enemies on the field with weakness break, Sushang's action is advanced by an additional 15%. So not only does she get speed when there's weakness break, she gets advancement forward after she uses her skill. She is just a fast nightmare. She's out of control. She's probably one of the best attacking. She is the best attacking 4-star, in my opinion, in the game. Here's the best thing about Sushang. She needs 0 Eidolons. 0 to be an absolute monster. Now, her Eidolon 1 is good. When you attack with your skill on weakness break, you recover a skill point. Perfectly great. Recovering skill points, great part of the game. Her 4-star break effect increases by 50%. Also pretty good. I mean, it's free break effect, right? So why does it matter, right? But no additional damage. And then her 6-star is really good. It allows her talent speed boost to stack up to 2 times. So effectively, she gets to go a lot faster. And then after entering battle, she immediately gains 1 stack. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. She's really good. Now, once again, how I would build her would be just straight raw attack, crit damage. Don't need any speed. Don't really need any break effect on top of that. Just build her to do as much damage as possible. The only real problem with her is that she doesn't really bring any AoE to the table. And a lot of what the closed beta was and a lot of what the current end game is a lot of AoE. So she may have some value with boss fights, but then may not have value in other fights. All right, next up on the list, we have Tingyun, and she is probably the best unit of the game. I'm not even joking. Like, she gives 5 stars a run for her money. Now, she is a support, so she could be in every single team comp, and she pretty much fixes all the team comps on top of that. But you can put her in a team, and you'll probably never, ever remove her. She's that good. Now, going over her basic kit, Basic attack, once again, lightning damage, nothing to write home there about. Her skill is amazing, and the best part is she's not that skill hungry, because you only have to use your skill about once every 3 turns. So she's going to allow you to charge up some energy and not have to blow through a lot of skills. Now, she increases the attack of a single ally by 25%, up to 55%. And then she also blesses that ally with lightning damage equal to 20% of their attack when hitting enemies for 3 turns. So that's like a double whammy. You have like an ice unit hitting ice and lightning at the same time. Absolutely crucial. Now, what you do is you're going to want to skill with her and then immediately go into her ultimate. Her ultimate regenerates 50 energy on the target ally and increases their target's damage by 20, 60, 68% for 3 turns. That's right. You just heard that right. So at the top level, she's increasing damage by roughly like 55 to 70% on her skill, and then another 68% on her ultimate, and they're both 3 turns. Oh my God, that's music to my ear. She was a monster in the closed beta. You put that on one of your primary DPS like 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 or anyone, and they're just going to hit like a monster truck. Absolutely crazy. Her talent and technique are nothing really to write home about. She does some additional lightning damage, cool, but only really good if you're breaking. She's not really there for attacking, but extra damage is extra damage. And then she gets some additional energy. Down to her traces. This is where she starts to pick up some speed. Her speed increases by 40% for 1 turn after using a skill, so this is really good. Speed is always really good. It gets you an extra turn, essentially, where you can do the basic attack and get those skill points back for someone else to use. Basic attack damage increased by 40%. She does some decent damage. And then finally, what I really like is the passage, which immediately regenerates 5 energy at the start of her turn. So the faster she can go, the better, and the better energy she can get to keep ultimating, because the more ultimate she could do, she can actually put it on multiple allies, unlike her skill, which only goes on 1 ally. All right, now here's where things gets absolutely amazing. Now, does she need any eidolons? No, she's amazing at 0. None of these make or break her, but they do make her, and they make her a lot better. Her eidolon 1 increases the ally speed by 20% for 1 turn after using their ultimate. Wow. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Then what I also like is her eidolon 4. Damage multiplier of bless increases by 20% on top of that. So she supplies even more damage. Just want to bring us into the bonus section. I know this video is already a little long, but I want to quickly just talk about these 3 characters. One, Natasha is probably one of the best healers as a 4-star, but she's nothing really to write home about outside of healing. Doesn't really need eidolons, doesn't really need anything for her to be effective. And you just bring her in when you need speed or when you need healing. So she's probably got a spot in the team no matter what. So that's why you didn't even really bring her as one of the ones that you want to focus on, but level her up as needed. Now, 2 other characters that are actually really good as well is Arlen and Pela. And Arlen actually is really cracked, but I don't like him, especially in the early to mid game. He doesn't use skill points on his skill. He instead sacrifices life, and he's essentially a double-edged sword where you're going to be sacrificing life, and then sometimes that's going to bite you in the butt and he's going to die. But the lower his life goes, the more damage he can do, but you don't want to keep his life low because that's just asking for trouble. On top of that, he's really good at the very late game, but I don't know if that's really a reason to level him up, because by the time that happens, you're probably going to have some limiteds, considering the main starting limiteds are going to be attackers, whether they be AoE or Azila or single target, or you get Yang Qing, or you get a bunch of other units. So not really, in my opinion, one you should focus on. And then 2, Pela is one you should focus on, and I think we should have almost her own video. She is kind of a staple at the very end game, and in some of the content that we didn't get in the closed beta that they only had over on the Chinese version, she was used in a lot of different teams. She's absolutely amazing, but as of right now, you probably don't need to invest into her in the beginning, but you could slightly invest into her, and that's probably who would be the 4th or 3rd on my list, depending on the other ones that you got and the constellations you got. But she does require a lot of eidolons and a lot of leveling up And once again, really a lot better AoE at the end game. All right, everyone, that's what I got on this video. Once again, it's my own personal opinion. This is also from the closed beta, so hopefully things don't change too much as we go into the live server. But if they do, we'll make another video. I hope you guys enjoy. Take it easy, and fist bump from me to you.